Fire prevention and public education programs are key elements in your department's effort to reduce fire and other hazards in your community. Along with reducing hazards, these programs allow you to have non-emergency contact with civilians in your area and build a positive public image. In this program, you will see some of the ways firefighters participate in fire prevention and public education programs, especially those reaching out to the residents of their community. The learning objectives are to explain the importance of fire prevention and public education to the fire department and to the community, to describe how to conduct a residential fire safety survey, to describe special fire and life safety hazards in the home, to demonstrate how to present fire safety information to small groups, and to describe how to conduct station tours. The importance of fire prevention and fire education to your public relations effort cannot be overstated. As a community-based and community-funded organization, your fire department depends on good public relations. It is essential that citizens in your jurisdiction know what you do and how well you do it. They need to know that you are there to prevent an emergency as much as you are there to respond to one. Public education programs are crucial to getting the word out about how to prevent fires and other emergencies, and also how to react and survive when emergencies occur. Firefighters need to get out into the public and meet and talk with civilians in a non-emergency setting. The two-way communication that occurs is important because it gives you a chance to work with people who are calm and not in a life-threatening situation. And it gives the public a chance to see that your job is more than just putting the wet stuff on the red stuff, and that you do not spend the day just sitting around the station waiting for a call to come in. But perhaps the most valuable benefit of fire prevention and education efforts is the hundreds of emergencies that never happen because a civilian is able to prevent or extinguish a fire using information from your program. Residential fire safety surveys are an important part of community fire prevention and life safety. The home is, by far, the most common site for accidents and fire deaths, accounting for about 80% of fire fatalities every year. Fire departments have different procedures for conducting home fire safety surveys, or home inspections, as many departments call them. But nearly all residential fire safety programs have four main objectives: to prevent accidental fires, to assess existing life safety conditions, to help the occupants improve home safety, and to encourage emergency planning. Because firefighters are trained in fire behavior, and because you have first-hand knowledge of the devastating effects of residential structure fires, you are a recognized authority in how to avoid and survive a home fire. A residential survey program gives your department an opportunity to assist citizens in learning about and reducing fire and other life safety hazards in their homes. It is important that public information about the residential survey program emphasize that your primary concern is to protect life and property, not code enforcement. General guidelines to follow in home surveys are: always approach the home on the sidewalk or path. If no one is home and you want to leave fire prevention literature, place it under the mat or in the doorway. Don't use the mailbox. If a child answers, ask to see an adult. If an adult is home, introduce yourself and explain the purpose of your visit. Ideally, you should have an appointment. Your appearance and attitude are especially important in making the inspection program a success. Be sure you are well groomed and your uniform is in excellent condition. Wait for permission before entering. Be courteous at all times, even if the occupant declines your offer for an inspection. Always show respect for the privacy of the home. Before beginning your survey, Explain your department's procedures for the survey. Make sure that you have the occupant's permission to go in the spaces normally inspected. Use an inspection form to make sure you check each area. Also, you can leave a copy with the occupant to help them remember your suggestions. Throughout the inspection, compliment the occupant on favorable safety conditions that you find. When you find a hazard, make constructive comments that not only point out the problem, but also give the homeowner ideas for how to correct it. At all times, do your best to persuade occupants to carry out your suggestions. Your survey should include an inspection of the home's fire protection system to ensure it is properly installed and maintained. Show the occupant how to test smoke detectors and smoke alarms. If the system is not hardwired or powered by lithium batteries, emphasize the importance of regularly changing the batteries. This is a good time to mention that a working smoke alarm system in the home can increase the family's chance of survival from a fire by 50%. Many departments provide free smoke alarms to homes that don't have them. Check fire extinguishers for proper charge. If the home is lacking extinguishers, recommend the appropriate type of extinguishers and where to install them. Stress that early notification of the fire department is essential to minimize damage if the fire gets out of hand. Many departments also mention life safety hazards, such as drowning hazards, slip and fall hazards, and the life-saving value of carbon monoxide detectors. The home safety survey is not complete without helping the family to develop emergency plans. Discuss the need to formulate a family escape plan for fires and to practice that escape plan twice a year. Point out the best escape routes and remind the occupant to keep escape routes clear of obstacles from the inside and outside. Conclude your survey with an exit interview. Review the results of your survey, complete the inspection form, and leave a copy with the owner. It's important to take the time to address questions or concerns raised by the survey. Always express your thanks for the privilege of being allowed in the home. And if any hazards are identified that need further action, urgently stress the need to correct the problem. Follow department procedures for filing your survey report. Let's look at specific hazards to check in a residential safety survey. You will want to focus on these areas during your survey. Inside the home, common sources of fires include heating appliances, cooking procedures, smoking materials, electrical distribution, candles and other open flames, electrical appliances, and children playing with fire. Combustible should be clear from all heating appliances. Check furnaces, hot water heaters, and vent pipes. Make sure hot water heaters are not set at scalding temperatures. Discuss safe cooking procedures in the kitchen, such as keeping all combustibles away from the stove and turning handles toward the inside. Demonstrate how to extinguish cooking fires. Smoking is the leading cause of home fire deaths, especially smoking in bed. Make sure smokers use ashtrays properly and encourage them to smoke outside. Check the electrical distribution by looking at circuit breakers and electrical outlets. Make sure that circuit breakers are clearly identified, outlets are not overloaded, and drop cords or extension cords are used safely. Note the placement of candles and other open flames. They should never be left burning unattended or near curtains or other combustible materials. Encourage the use of globes for extra safety. Make sure electrical appliances are in good condition and don't have frayed cords or other obvious hazards. Next, we'll discuss hazards you should look for when surveying the outside of a home. First, is the home address clearly visible from the street so that emergency responders can locate the house quickly? If the home has a wood-burning stove or fireplace, check the condition of the chimney. Ask if the chimney has been cleaned and inspected within the last year to prevent the dangerous buildup of creosote. Check to see that there is a spark arrestor at the top of the chimney. Notice the condition of the yard. Combustible materials that are piled up or under porches should be removed. Tall grass or vegetation should be at least 30 feet or 10 meters from the house, and trees should be trimmed back if they hang over the roof line, especially in areas with potential exposure to wildland fires. An outdoor waste burner should meet local regulations. All burn barrels need metal screens to prevent embers from flying out. Check out gas appliances. Look for a gas control device that turns off the gas if the pilot light is extinguished. This device can prevent a gas explosion. Every gas appliance should have its own shutoff on the supply line, and it should be readily accessible. Vents for all types of gas-fired appliances, except those listed by UL as unvented, should be checked. It is very important that the vent pipe be tight, have the proper draft diffuser on the appliance, have a rain cap, and be sealed as necessary. Sheds and garages should be clean and free of excess combustibles. Gasoline and other flammable liquids should not be kept in a dwelling. A safety can of gasoline can be stored in an outside storage area. If the dwelling has a basement, look for accumulations of waste or discarded material. Rags contaminated with oil or grease should be stored in closed metal containers because they can spontaneously ignite. Check any oil burning equipment, such as a furnace, to see if it is properly installed. Check furnace and stove vent pipes. Look for charred wood or blistering paint that can indicate exposure to high temperatures. In workrooms, look for the orderly storage of flammable liquids. Check to be sure that shavings from workbenches are cleaned up. Check to be sure that combustible materials are not piled up, and suggest that other hazards be moved or discarded.
How many of you have smoke detectors in your homes?
As a firefighter, you don't have to be a great public speaker, but you do need to know how to stand in front of small groups to present basic fire safety information. Firefighters make presentations at kindergartens, schools, colleges, hospitals, retirement homes, civic clubs, the fire station, and at community events. They have saved millions of lives by teaching basic fire safety messages. No matter what your topic or audience, these basic guidelines for presenting fire safety information will help. 1. Prepare. Study the fire department's curriculum or program materials and discuss your ideas for the presentation. Get tips from an experienced fire safety educator if you can. 2. Get their attention. Customize your presentation to meet the needs of the specific audience you will be talking to, taking into account the age, language, and socioeconomic factors of your audience. Children are drawn to clowns and other colorful and interactive displays. Parents want to keep their children safe. Emphasize why your message is important to this specific group. 3. Make the subject come alive. In this part of the presentation, you transfer the specific ideas and the actions the audience needs to learn. Do not just stand and lecture your audience. Both adults and children need to be actively engaged. Make your session short, but active and interesting. Encourage audience participation. Use appropriate visual aids and hands-on activities. 4. Give everyone a chance to practice what was learned. This phase not only helps the audience retain the message, it gives you a chance to confirm or correct what was learned. So pay close attention. 5. Provide handouts. Whenever possible, put something in your audience's hands at the end of your presentation to remind them of what they have learned, and so they can pass the information on to other people in their lives. Children are often the fire department's strongest allies in bringing home the fire department's fire prevention and life safety messages. Station tours provide an opportunity for people to get an up-close look at the fire department, its people, and its equipment. The department also benefits from tours because more understanding and awareness of the department's operations tend to increase support from the public. Tours also provide a great opportunity to deliver fire and life safety messages to the public. Your station commander will instruct you in your department's specific policies on station tours. It's always a good practice to start with an introductory session in a meeting room or day room. Introduce all firefighters taking part in the tour and provide the visitors a quick summary of what your tour will include. Most tours begin with an overview of the station layout, followed by a tour of fire apparatus. Make sure you cover what will happen if an alarm comes in during the tour, especially if you will have to respond. This is also a good time to ask the visitors if there is anything they're particularly interested in seeing. Showing a video about the fire department is a good way to begin or end the tour and stimulate questions from the group. Plan hands-on activities. Weather permitting, outdoor demonstrations of the apparatus in action and squirting water are always big crowd pleasers. The tour plan and your fire and life safety messages should be tailored to meet the age and specific interest of the visiting group. Young children are usually thrilled to get a chance to sit inside the cab of the fire apparatus. But defer to the teacher or parent before placing a child in the seat of the great big fire engine. Explain what lights and sirens do, but refrain from demonstrating the sirens. They can terrify children and may cause hearing damage. Kids love to try on firefighters' gear, but it's not a good idea for them to wear your helmet. The weight of a full-sized helmet can damage small necks. Lightweight giveaway helmets are safer for them. However, it is important for preschool children to see a firefighter wearing full PPE, so they won't be frightened of them and hide in a fire. The best way to show them what you will look like without scaring them is to demonstrate how you would dress for a fire. Explain the purpose of each piece as you don it. Finish wearing full PPE so that you can show what firefighters look like and sound like when they come into a home to rescue people. Whenever giving tours to children, take the opportunity to sprinkle in the appropriate fire safety messages like stop, drop, and roll, get out and stay out, and how to call for help in emergencies. Adolescents are at the age when they can understand more about specific equipment and operations. Since they are nearing recruitment age, you might also discuss how to start a career with the fire department. Teens are at a higher risk for vehicle accidents as new drivers and need to hear your messages about the dangers of drunk driving, the importance of using seatbelts, and what to do when an emergency vehicle is approaching on the road. They can also use fire safety information for babysitting. Adults and parents are interested in increasing fire safety in the home, while senior citizens may be more interested in your station's EMS capabilities. Whatever the age or interest of your group, try to put something in their hands at the end of the tour as a lasting reminder of their visit to the fire station and of your fire and life safety messages. Fire prevention and fire safety education are two of the most powerful firefighting tools available to you. Residential fire safety surveys and public education not only help prevent fires from starting, they also assure your department of an ongoing positive relationship with the citizens in your community. In this program, we have shown many of the basic components of residential fire prevention and public education programs. We have shown the importance of fire prevention and fire education to fire department public relations in your community, the components of a home fire safety survey program, specific hazards that you should look for in the home, basic guidelines for delivering fire safety information to audiences of any age group or interest, and the basics for conducting a fire station tour. Remember that the best firefighting response is the one that prevented the fire in the first place. If in 1 year's time, all of your fire prevention and public education efforts save just one life or keep one family from becoming homeless, it will be a year well spent.